Hello option hackers. Hey, sorry for the sunglasses, but it's so bright out here I needed to wear them. But it also reminded me of something that recently happened while on a coaching call with one of my students. Let me zoom in on something and see if you can figure out what it is. So as I zoom in, you'll see and know immediately what I'm talking about. Yep, it's those solar panels up there. What's so interesting though is as you walk through my neighborhood, you'll see lots and lots of houses that have these panels installed. Now these panels come in all sizes and shapes, and it just really depends upon the household and the number of panels needed to meet the power requirement for that particular residence. So this coaching client of mine was really interested in finding companies that supported his beliefs, right? So he believes in clean renewable energy sources, and so his question had a lot to do with identifying companies that are performing well in this space. So my client was asking me how he could easily identify companies that are in this space, either solar power and other renewable clean power sources. So the more we talked, the more questions he asked, and I could see where this was leading up to. He was really looking for me to give him a suggestion or recommendations of the one or two top stocks that I think might be investable in as part of an option trade. Now he'd mentioned me he'd done a significant amount of research in the energy sector and industries and found that there were hundreds and hundreds of companies to choose from. And so he was just overwhelmed with the number of different choices. Now, as a part of his research, he was able to identify a number of different companies that seemed to be performing well in this space, but he couldn't figure out how to determine how he should narrow it down and pick the right one. So I decided to do some research and figure out just how big this space is. As it turns out, there's over 270 companies in the energy sector, more than 110 companies in the utility sector. And if I want to drill down and just look at specifically solar technology, there's over 19 companies. Plus, we can't forget about companies that are related to the renewable energy market space. Now, they may not be directly involved, but they may provide products or services that actually support these renewable energy companies. For example, the industrial sector has over 600 companies. These companies could be providing products and services for equipment, parts, as well as manufacturing. And of course, we can't forget the technology sector as well. There's also companies there that are associated with clean renewable energy sources, battery companies, chemical companies, as well as some design, engineering, manufacturing, and testing services. So as you can see, there's lots of different choices to pick from. And let me tell you what I said to him with regards to how I would take a look at this situation and how I would approach it. So let me just quickly summarize the situation that my coaching client was in. This student of mine was looking for companies in the clean renewable energy industry. As it turns out, the sector was heating up, so he was looking to identify companies in the clean renewable energy space that he might be able to leverage as possible option trades. Now, as a part of his research, he was able to narrow down his choices to 8 possible companies. However, he doesn't have enough money to invest in all 8, so he's coming to me looking for advice on how to narrow down his selection. If I find myself in a situation where a sector is heating up, and I've identified several different companies that I want to invest in, but I don't have enough funds to do that, here's an approach that I've often used. So if the stock market is hot on a particular sector or industry, and there's lots of companies for me to choose from for an option trade, but unfortunately, I don't have enough cash to trade them all, I could take advantage of an ETF, or exchange traded fund. So Investopedia defines an exchange traded fund as a type of pooled investment security that operates much like a mutual fund. Typically, ETFs, exchange traded funds, will track a particular index, sector, commodity, or other asset, but unlike mutual funds, ETFs can be purchased or sold on a stock exchange the same way that a regular stock can. So that's perfect. That's exactly what I need. I can buy or sell an ETF just like a regular stock on the marketplace, meaning I can also use it to trade options with. And now all I need to do is find the ETF that captures the sector or industry that I'm interested in. Or in the case of my coaching client, an ETF that covers the companies in the clean renewable energy space. Whenever I start looking for stocks to use for my option trading, I always start off every session by using my one-button stock screener. And don't be confused, it can also be used to find ETFs or exchange-traded funds. You can get access to my one-button stock screener and a free copy for yourself by visiting simplestockscreener.com. Let me share 3 examples of ETFs I found that could possibly fit the needs of what my coaching client is looking for. The first one up is iShares Global Clean Energy ETF, stock symbol ICLN. Now this ETF is designed to track the performance of approximately 100 clean energy related companies. Here's a daily chart going back 1 year to July of 2021. And we can see that this stock has been largely trading in a range. Let me draw some support and resistance lines to better illustrate what I'm talking about. So I see a support line right around here, $16.60, and a resistance level right around $25.67. And now if I zoom in to just the beginning of this year, the year to date, January 2022, we can see that the trading range has been greatly reduced. The support level is still at $16.60, but now the resistance level is right around $22.57. The next ETF I would consider would be the First Trust NASDAQ Clean Edge Green Energy Index Fund, stock symbol QCLN. This fund is designed to track the performance of small, mid, and large capitalization clean energy companies that are publicly traded in the United States. Here's a daily chart going back 1 year to July of 2021. This stock has been largely trading in a range. When it reached a high of around $82.45 in the middle of November of 2021, and a low of around $45 during May 12th of 2022. And now if we zoom into the beginning of this year, to take a look at the year to date, let's draw some support and resistance lines. First, I see a support level right around $45 and a resistance level right around $70 per share. And if we focus in on just the last 3 months or so, say right around the end of April, we can see that the stock price has been consolidating between a support level of $45 and a resistance right around $60. So these first two ETFs definitely fit the criteria of what I've been looking for. But what if I wanted an ETF that focused primarily on solar energy? Because after all, that's how this whole thing got started. The Invesco Solar ETF, stock symbol TAN, tracks the performance of companies in the global solar energy business. Here's a daily chart going back 12 months to July of 2021. And we could see that this ETF has had its shares of ups and downs. When it reached a high of around $101 during the first week of November 2021, and a low of $56 right around the end of February 2022. And now if I zoom in and show the year to date, starting with July of 2022, we can see a support level right around $56 per share, and a resistance right around $80 per share, which it broke through at the close of today's trading session when it closed at $82.88. So my coaching client really loves the idea of being able to option trade an ETF that covers a sector or industry in the stock market that's performing really well. So even though he doesn't have enough funds to option trade for all the individual companies, by investing in only 1, 2, or 3 of those ETFs, it would allow him to gain access to those companies and the earning potential that they may have. So after I told my coaching student about the opportunity available with ETFs, one of the first things he asked me was, do they trade any differently on a brokerage account? So I opened up my trading platform and I showed him, you simply enter the symbol of the ETF. So in the first example was ICLN. Next, you press Trade ICLN Options. Next, you're presented with the option chain. So you can select buy or sell, call or puts. So if I'm interested in selling a cash secure put for ICLN, the ETF, I would select sell, put. I'd pick an expiration date, say 1 month out. So I'm going to use the August 26th date. And now I pick a strike price. So for example, if I were to pick the $21 strike price, I would be paid 45 cents per share in premium. So executing an option order using an ETF looks exactly the same as if I were to use an individual stock. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed learning more about using ETFs or exchange traded funds as part of your option trading strategy. Also, don't forget a free copy of my one-button stock screener by going to simplestockscreener.com.